Yay. Okay, so if you participate of the introductory meeting, no, you already know this phrase that we use always, because in a nutshell, says everything, no, that we want to do in the program. So it's the best teaching, of course, when the emphasis is accompanying the child in a journey of discovery instead of wanting to transmit knowledge. What do you think that this means? Can you give me an idea?
Well, I think it's the letting the child lead where they want to go and supporting them in that, instead of just saying, okay, these are the things we're going to learn, and you're just talking at them, trying to teach them what you want them to learn.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Lauren. Any other idea? Something that comes to your mind?
And just adding to that, from what I know, it's significantly more effective in terms of like learning anything new, any new skills, information, relations, what have you, through experience rather than someone just telling you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you,
experience and play, right? Like they learn so much faster when it's play based. In my, at least what I've experienced with Ezra, it's like if I'm trying to teach him something and I'm just like focused on what he needs to learn versus like finding a way to do it versus play. It's something like 100 times versus I don't know what the actual number is, but it takes a lot longer. And
yes,
there's more, tension.
Yes, they say that you need to repeat something 300 times, no, for the child to be able to read the brain. No, thank you.
No, we're currently doing that for bath time. It's not fun.
No, at all.
No.
So we all, the brain, left, right, no, the creative part and the logical analytic side. And it's divided in 4 quadrants. So we are talking, we as an adult, because I was, my background is in college, working in leadership with the postgraduate. So when we try to do some kind of workshop or teaching, for an adult, we were using what we call a multi-active, vivencial, hands-on, approach. So that means to use all the senses, to be able to learn. So most of the people, so we as a teachers, talking as a teacher, I need to try to use all the possible ways for the people who is listening to me, to be able to absorb that information. So that's the reason that the ways that in college, they teach is using props, calling to the emotions, to the logical part, and they start doing hands-on, unless in leadership. It's easier for the person to be able to understand what we are trying to do, and they are going to remember later, tomorrow, what we did. And with the children, so we mammals, all the mammals, in young mammals, they learn through play. So it's something that is innate. We are born with that. It's the way that we learn how to be able to socialize and be part of a community. It's the way that we learn about our own feelings and how we communicate those feelings. If I'm crying, the people, the other children are listening to me, or they don't want to be with me. So sometimes children learn that they need to step back a little bit to be able to be part of something. So we learn not to sacrifice something, to be part of a community. Because not always is going to be what we want. So sometimes the children at the program, they are saying, they don't want to play with me, but I want to play Simba. So the children, they don't want to play Simba. No, so sometimes we talk with the children and it's, okay, you want to play Simba, but did you play with them or you ask them what they want to play? So maybe if you play with them first, they are gonna be more open to play Simba with you later. No, and the children in that way, they start learning how to negotiate. They start learning what we say, to read the room, know what is happening and how I can be an insider instead of an outsider. So for us, this phrase is about leaving behind, we as an adults, or need that was transferred for the culture, society, experiences of life, our own school life, no, the teachings of our parents, then we need to be teaching constantly, no? And we feel bad if we have so many dead time. So we feel like we are losing time. And parents sometimes feel like if they are not taking advantage of these early years and they are not teaching, not constantly, even in the kitchen, at the bed, at bedtime. So you don't have time only not to enjoy the time together. Is that you are in the kitchen? Oh, we are gonna put the knife in this way, and we are gonna put the pot in this way. So we're always teaching. And what we need to do is what we say, learn to unlearn that process. Feel comfortable with the silence. Feel comfortable with doing nothing, no? And especially is understanding that doing nothing and being silent with a child means giving a space to the child for the child to start focusing and developing by itself. Every time that we are like a helicopter over a child, we are taking away the opportunity for that child to be independent, to find the solutions by itself. And that is what is everything about what we do, about forest kindergarten, about alternative education is we adults need to step back and allow children to be children and allow children to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. Not with an adult trying to bring wisdom, not to that mistake. It's about the children not talking between them and looking for solutions. A ver, okay, I'm gonna bring this here. So the origin, that's my daughter. You can see her. Now she was, those are the beginnings. That is a picture of one of the very first Mommy and Me sessions that we did at the Sea Aquarium. No, and she was, and I think that she was around 2.5 or 3 there. But we started around when she was 1.5 years in play dates in the parks. No, and so the reason that I, it's not that since the beginning that I decided to do this. It was like I got pregnant. Okay, I'm gonna to become a mom. I didn't want to be a mom. I didn't want to have children. And suddenly, okay, what I'm gonna do? So I start doing my research. I found a Waldorf. I read about Reggio, but Montessori was the approach that really called me. It was the aha moment. When I read The Absorbent Mind for first time, and believe me, I read it several times. So for me, was the answer about how to raise a child to not to become the kind of adult that I was working with at the university. No, a person of 60 years old, VP of Bell South, listening to a 25-year-old telling him it's okay to say no. If you don't want to do it, even if it's your mom, don't do it. Because especially in Latin America, that's the society that we have. No, you need to be a good person. Doesn't matter if you feel it or not. If you want to do it, doesn't matter if your gut gets sick because you don't want to do it, because you feel that no, it's a no. So it was about empowering people to be able to follow their instincts and be able to confront and stand in front of the society and say, I don't want to do it. I don't feel it. So when I read that book, for me, that was the answer. So I say, okay, I'm going to raise my child in this way. I'm going to do, it became my Bible. Tell me, Lauren.
What was the title of that book?
The Absorbent Mind. I'm gonna write it in the chat.
I think I may have it. I'll look, Lauren. I've read it, but I've already forgot it because, after, I don't know. I feel like I read things that since becoming a mom and the lack of sleep, I just forget it a month later. I don't know.
I forget.
I always have that issue, Karen.
Don't worry. I think someone has a wine next to you. Every time I say, go and grab a wine, take advantage.
That's a great idea.
No? Well, if you want, only tell me and we can go. We all together at the same time.
Let's go.
So when she was 1 year and a half, I was going to the library. I was using Montessori. My apartment became a Montessori classroom. I invested a lot of money bringing all the materials from Peru, because even here was 4 times more expensive. So I started working with her at home and going to the library, several activities around Miami. And the parents, they start asking me where she was going, for sensory classes. And I was saying, she's not doing anything. And she was not doing anything. And I started doing this because my ex-husband, he didn't give me money. So I didn't have money to do anything with my child. So I started doing this. And they start asking me, and I say, well, I'm doing this. And from there, I started organizing the play dates, going to parks, organizing activities with the police, with the firefighter. Why? Because we learned that if we are not a group, a community, a preschool, we don't have access to those things here. So, and also the Mommy and Me classes, they were 3 years and up for liability. So I said, I start hiring the aquarium, Jungle Island, the zoo to offer my own Mommy and Me. So the same Mommy and Me that they had. So I say, okay, now this is your zero, and now I'm gonna put on it what I need. So first, I need for you to not to get anxious if the children are not listening to you. No, it's okay. So I start directing the people in charge of education about how to be more flexible and more calm with the children surrounding them, especially because we were going with young children. So that is the way that everything starts. So at the beginning, we have the Childhood Nature Project that was called Busy Kids at that moment. Everything started as a non-profit because I wanted to be able to offer this to other moms who couldn't afford it. Unfortunately, I was trying everywhere to get grants and they were being negated, denied, because if we were too young, we didn't have experience. So I was getting very upset about it. And after a couple of years, we finally had money in the account, but I couldn't use it for me, that I was in need of that money, to pay myself. So I decided to start a for-profit. And that is how Miami Nature Play School was formed. When my daughter, she started she was around 4 or 5 years old, ready to go to school, because she was the first years in the public school, because her dad doesn't believe in homeschooling. So I didn't have any other choice. And so at that moment I said, okay, I'm gonna look for a job. And the families, they asked me to continue. So that was the moment that this became, for me, a business, a way to live. And the organization grew up a lot. And Enchanted Forest was the first location that we opened it. It really, the city of North Miami, they were very, at that moment, the director and the people who was in Parks and Recreations, they loved the idea of the project. They tried for me to go and work for them, and the project be from the city. And I say no. I say I want to be able to have the first hand and decision about what to do with the program. So, but they are always, until now, they are very supportive of the program. So we are very grateful for that. So, next one. I'm still learning with this. So 9 years ago, then we were the first nature-based program here in South Miami. After then, especially after COVID, a lot of new nature-based programs were open. The thing is that what differ from us from there, what makes the difference, is that in our case, it's not only about bringing children to nature and having them. Is that we are prepared. We know that we are clear that we are a forest kindergarten, we are a forest school, we are alternative education, and it's child-led. So, and also the work that we do with the parents, especially at the parent and child. The parent and child is where we have right now around 70 families. And they are divided in the 4 locations in North Miami, Little River, North Miami Beach, and Hialeah. And the facilitators, the work of the facilitator is not to everything that I learned in the Absorbent Mind book, conscious discipline about early childhood development. So the work of the facilitator is to coach the parents and also to create community for them to have a network of people who has the same thinking, and they trust each other, because most of the families, unless in the parent and child, the 95% of the families there, they don't have relatives in Miami. And that was also something that I needed. So we want to help parents, especially because we know that several of them, moms and dads, they are suffering of depression. And some of them, they don't recognize it, or they don't want to do it because they feel ashamed. So that is the reason that always in every meeting that we have, I tell them that I suffer from depression since the very beginning of my pregnancy and until now. So, but I don't take pills. So I try to handle it since the very beginning by myself. But at the beginning was very hard. And even I started hallucinating and I almost killed myself and Samantha in the car. So I want for them to understand that we all, mostly, I believe I was reading a research, but it's around 80–90% of parents, they suffer of some level of depression. But the thing is, if you don't have a community, if you don't trust people, and if you feel like you can talk and don't be judged, don't be ashamed, so we can save life. Like in my case, if I didn't have family, I didn't have anyone to be able to talk. So that was the moment that I decided to start building a community surrounding my daughter, building all the network around her. Then at the same time, it was going to support myself, it was going to support to me. Okay. So the purpose is we are not a traditional program. You already know that. And it's formed by moms. No, at the beginning, it was formed by me. So Miami Nature Playful is still me, no? But with the time, the moms who start in the parent and child, and the moms that you know right now, the most of them as a mentors in Adventure in the Forest, the moms who are facilitators, the people who is right now in the elementary school, they start in the program 7, 8 years ago in the parent and child. So they start as a parents with a 2-year-old, 1.5-year-old. And so with the time, all this team, we all have different backgrounds. We all have different experiences, in life. But we decide to change our profession to be there with our children. So everything that we do has a direct impact in our children, and we believe on this. So the idea is to gather families to build child-oriented, playful communities, where the goal is to support the parents and for the parents to support the social, emotional, and physical development of the children, in a healthy, natural environment surrounded by nature. So for me, nature is a tool. First, in our case, was created the concept, about creating a family preschool. And from there, with the time, we say, okay, nature needs to be part of this. And at the moment I was creating, I thought that I was creating the wheel. And after that, I noticed that it was more than 20 years that this was happening, at least in this country, and more than 100 years in Europe. So we start putting both things together. And we became the first nature program, forest kindergarten, then requested a full commitment of the family of the whole year. So when I go to other countries, to conferences to talk about the program, they don't believe that we have a forest kindergarten 5 days a week during the whole year, and that we have children 7 years with us. But it's needed, because when our goal is not only to reconnect with nature, not only to bring children outside. It's about the social and emotional development. And that doesn't happen from one day to the other. It's something that we need to continue working together with the parents, because that foundation is going to come from the skills that the parents are transferring to the children. So the parents is our main goal that anyone knows. So for us, it's the parents. The parents are the ones that we need to work with. Dime, Carla.
At what age does the Mommy and Me start? Like, when can the kids start?
The youngest child that we had, it was 15 days.
Perfect. This would be such a great, I like worked as a doula before, but this would be such a great offering and like thing to show people that are just having babies, because everyone feels alone and everyone's depressed and no one knows what they're doing. Yes. So like just, to have in that world, that would make such a big difference for everyone. Yes. But sorry, go ahead.
It's true. It's part of the reason. So the youngest that we be able to capture the parents, the best, because especially if they are new parents, because they are very eager to learn. It's not that they already have experience with one child and that child is okay. So they want to continue, without putting so much effort. But first-time parents is the best, because we really can go and work with them, and they can know if alternative education, because it's not that we want for everyone to do alternative education. It's about bringing to the table all the options, and for the parents to have that information to be able to make the right decision. No, from the 60 families, the 100% of families in the parent and child, only the 10%, sorry, the 30% moves into adventure in the forest. The other 70%, not they send their children to a preschool or daycare when they turn 2.5, 3 years old. And from that 30% that moves into adventure in the forest, only the 10% moves into alternative education to the elementary school. So there is minimum. But the thing is, unless we know that those parents had the information, no, and they made the right decision
doing
for them.
what we're supposed to do. Like, oh, we're supposed to send them there and see what happens.
Yeah. So we are going to continue. So the programs. We have 2 programs right now. Those are the ones who are in the website. About your question, Karen, about the age. So we have the Parent and Child Institute, that is what we call a mommy and me, but we don't like being called like that because it's not only about coming with a caregiver and leaving after 45 minutes. And we have Adventure in the Forest, that is where your children are, the children that you know. And so before COVID, we had a specific program that was called First Wonders, and we are going to include it again in the website, because First Wonders, Parent and Child Institute in the website says that is starting 1 year old. And First Wonders says that is for babies until under 1 year old. But still, the Parent and Child Institute has families with babies, because the families, they really know what they want and they call asking if they can join. The difference between the Parent and Child Institute and the First Wonders is that in First Wonder, they have 1 day that they come only babies. And the second day of the week, they could decide to join any community. So they weren't fixed to a specific community. The Parent and Child, we have 4 communities, and each community is formed for between 12 and 13 families. And it's the same families during the whole year. Because again, we are trying to build a community. Those families have the option to do makeups if they miss a class. So they can go with other community to recover sessions. And that is the way that between the parents, they start knowing each other. In addition of all the activities that we do, when we are doing the talks or brunch for the moms, so they start knowing each other, outside the community. So the Parent and Child is the space where we practice the conscious parenting, we reconnect with nature, and we create these micro communities to support the network between the families. And we work a lot of coaching with them. And Katia, she visits at least once a month each community. So she continue the conscious discipline with these families, being sure that they are understanding how to change the way that we communicate with the children, how to rephrase the way that we are communicating, the words that we are using, and if they need something else, so Katy is there to be able to help with anything, the children or the family. And Adventure in the Forest is the continuity. For us, the Parent and Child was the first program that we created, because really our expectation was to try for the parents to stay with the children until they were 5 years old, like I was with my daughter. But we understand that sometimes the parents, they need some time. So they were asking, to have the forest kindergarten. And honestly, was one mom who did a big push. The reason that we started Adventure in the Forest. So we say, okay, let's do it. And because it was a lot of things about the law. Doesn't exist a law, in children and family for having children outside. And also in this state, especially South Florida, they are very overprotective of the children. So we were unsure to do it. So at the end, we decided to do Adventure in the Forest. We started, and Adventure in the Forest is the continuity. It's like the parent and child, but now the parents are at home and the mentors are taking the place of the parents. So we are continuing with the conscious discipline, with the way that we communicate with the children, and the children, they are testing boundaries. They have more freedom. They are building independence. They are building not all the soft skills that they need, working with each other. And in Adventure in the Forest, the mentors, we are observers. We are regularly in the outside, in the outside circle, observing what is happening, and taking notes and seeing if it's needed for us to intervene. So education for the future, this is the school. You can see the picture. This was 2 days ago on Tuesday. No, it was yesterday. It was yesterday. So they are doing 1 day a week, a volunteer day at Lotus House. So they are taking care of the garden. And one of the moms, she got a grant and she built the garden at Lotus House. And now they are going to work there, for the children. So in 2020 is done, the elementary was opened. We already have that plan. COVID happened. Since we were outside, the plan was that we say we are going to continue with the plan. And the only difference is that we were planning to start with the children of the mentors. So we were planning 7. At the end, we start with almost 17 children. So it was very hard. So all the children, we knew the children because they were before part of the program. But it was very difficult because we have families who really, they only want to escape from COVID and to have the children outside home after all the quarantine. But now, 3 years after, so now the rotation is very low. I think that for this year, it's only one family who is not going to come back. And but the school, the forest school, so the children, they spend 90% of the time outdoors, despite that we have a schoolhouse. And this includes 3 hours of freedom, of wandering time, that they call. So they can decide if they want to continue with working with letters or numbers, or if they want to play, or if they want to learn how to knit or how to carving. Ramon, who is there next to the children in Adventure in the Forest at the Farm, he has atelier now, so he's teaching how to sculpt, to the children. So they are carving. They decide what to do. And the children, with the time, when they find the self-regulation, they normalize, they are going to need less play. And that is around 8 years old, 9 years old. And at that moment is that most of them, they discover what is their passion and for what they are good. And they start focusing towards that. That is the idea about alternative education, about adults stepping back. So we give the space to the children to be able to find themselves, what they want in life. So I just preparing this, I noticed I didn't know about this, but 50% of the children, we have right now 40 children in the elementary, 50% of the children have been with us since toddlers. So since they were 1.5 years, 2 years old, and some of them since 3 months old, especially the siblings, the second sibling, they came 1 month old, 3 months old, and they know each other the whole life, and they are best friends. And we know the children their whole life. And that is incredible, seeing them how to growing, and really having this bond that is so strong between them, and it's amazing to see the messages in the chat of the parents of the school, saying, one parent, just in case today I'm gonna arrive to 30, and I need to pick this, that, and my child. So some of the parents, some of the families, they change the car and they both a van. So they take turns doing carpooling or taking the children to one house. O sea, see, that is amazing. So changing your car only because you want to help with all the children, no, from the community. So, and we have the Child Connection Project that was the very beginning of everything that is our nonprofit, the 501c3. It was until last year we stopped using it for several reasons, and I didn't have time. But now, since the end of last year, so we start applying for grants again. So we are there because until now, so we have several families who has scholarships, no, especially in the parent and child. And so, but all that scholarship until now is coming from our pocket, no, from the Valle, the money coming in, and we are using that to cover, no, the family. So now we are trying to get grants to be able to offer, no, more scholarships and create more programs. So not to be so worried about the budget, no, to open a new community. And so we subsidize events and field trips, no, like the conscious discipline. So the conscious discipline workshop, for example, if you look around online, the workshop that you are taking and you pay 300 is 700 outside. So that is part of Katia believing in the program. I know Katia since my daughter was a year and a half too. That was the first program, Conscious Discipline, that we organized. And so we know each other. She knows Samantha forever, no? And we believe on that. And she believes in what we are doing. So it's between both of us, no, that we are, no, and the support of the parents paying for not those 300, and conscious discipline is happening. No, the community events when we have guests, no, like Dietmar, that you weren't able to meet him, but he came from Germany and he stayed here like a month, and he offered different conferences, no, to the parents. The cleanup to Pelican Island, then we adopt that island in the Causeway. So the kids, they go there to do cleanups. The concert for kids also, that we buy the tickets regularly to terraces, no? Terrace 1, Terrace 5, more than 70 people. So we offer, no, the tickets to the families, but also we donate some of the tickets to community, no, like Lotus House, other organizations that we know that they can afford it. So we donate some of the tickets for them. Community engagement, volunteer days, all these activities, no, we do it through the nonprofit. So who are the leaders? For the ones that you don't know, of course, I think that all you know Karina. No, she's the program supervisor. She joined just during COVID, and she's my assistant. So especially because I'm still in charge of Adventure in the Forest. And Ursula Castañeda.
Is everybody frozen or just?
Can you see the screen?
I don't know what's going on.
I don't either.
Now I can see Lauren.
I think everyone froze
and
for a second. All of your screens were like still.
Yeah.
And someone cut out.
So I don't know Karina, but I've heard a lot about her.
Yeah.
And I think, does she make elderberry syrup or something?
No, that's Katia Bechara. That's a mom.
So I don't know her, but I drink her stuff. Go.
And Katia Bechara is offering now classes of bread at the farm on Sundays.
Oh,
and
nice.
They are going to have a fundraising on December that I'm going to send information for the garden. No, the garden outside the farm, that the kids at the school and the group with Katia and Daniela, they are in charge of that.
Okay.
But Karina, yes, Karina is Karina, she's right now the team leader, at Olera. And so the idea I hope, is that when Leila start working with us, no, probably Karina to start being able again to go through to the farm to have more contact with the parents and the children. But before, because right now we are very short of hands, and before she was jumping between the 3 locations, no, so she was always aware of everything between the children. She's still, but she was more present, no? Ursula, she started as a mom, independent and child, and in 2016, with the first child, now she has 3, and now she became the director of the Parent and Child Institute, and I'm preparing her to take my place like a head of the organization. I hope next year, no, between 24 and 25. So, and Ana Maria, she started also as a mom with the first child. Now she has 4, and she's menacing to have more. In 2016, this is funny. She's terrible. So Ana Maria, she started as a mom, also in the Parent and Child, and she became the first mentor of Forest Kindergarten. So she had the first group of Forest Kindergarten. And when Alejandro, who is the oldest, he was turning 6, around 6, she started asking me about the school. No, and she was not the only one, and I don't want to go through that. And 3 years after, I know why I didn't want to go through that, because it's so difficult to get the permits. It's 3 years, and we didn't get the building permits yet. So, because Ana Maria, she was there behind me, we decided to start the elementary school. We applied for the Acton Academy. We got approved immediately because it was very aligned with the thinking of the philosophy and everything. And now she's the co-founder and she's the head of the school. So these are the 3 leaders in the organization. So now we are going to start the good part of everything. So Forest Kindergarten. So it's a lot of confusion around there between Forest Kindergarten and Forest School. At the end of the day, you can say that Forest Kindergarten, and especially now that I'm traveling so much to England, they help me to understand that. Yes, I'm gonna send the PowerPoint. So they use the difference. Forest Kindergarten is for the program for children under 6. No? And the thing is that here in United States is a lot of confusion. I think that it's not working. Give me a second because it's not working the battery. Let's see. No. Yes. So now I was talking with Sarah Lawful. Sarah Lawful is my mentor now in England. So Forest Kindergarten the term is used for children under 6, so for adventure in the forest. That's Forest Kindergarten. And Forest School is for school-age children. But here, right now, they are using the term for everything, for any program that is offered outside, because doesn't exist really the foundation about the philosophy and what is required for really be a forest school or forest kindergarten. In United States, you have people get confused for the term kindergarten. So kindergarten comes from the German word Kindergarten, that means garden of children. So children outside, playing, exploring, doesn't matter the weather, doesn't have a building. But in United States was adopted not to name the year where the children are getting ready for school. So the 5 years old. But kindergarten doesn't mean really what is the way that is being used here in United States is the whole opposite of the real meaning of the word kindergarten. No, and like I said, forest school, so it's outdoor education, different forms of outdoor education, but regularly the kids, they are doing bushcraft. So they are using tools, they are working in the wood like the children at elementary. That's the reason that the elementary is a forest school. So the kids, they open fire, they cook, they are using tools with the wood, no? So that is what makes the difference between the forest kindergarten and the forest school. Do you have any question about this? No? So the principles, here is all the principles that makes a nature-based program a forest school or forest kindergarten. So it's long-term, based on nature, community principle, risk, holistic learning, and leadership principle. We are gonna go through each of them. If I, okay. Yes. So we are gonna talk about the roots before going to the principles. So the ethos of intervention, no, is going back to the beginning of the war. That is. So forest school is about allowing children to learn with other children, not to be under a roof in a school setting. No, the schools that we know right now, they were created during the industrial era. I think that I'm using the right word, for political and religious reasons. So, no, the parents, they need a place where the children were while they were going to work. And so that is the reason that the schools that we know was created in that way. But children really doesn't need that. They need to be outside with other children because the brain has between newborn through 21-year-old, the brain has a checklist of what the child needs to learn every 3 years. So we mammals, we go through different stages of maturity every 3 years, 3, 6, 9, until 21. And every 3 years is a different benchmarks that the children, they need to not to acquire. Gross motor skills, fine motor skill, be able to jump, be able to walk. But what makes the difference between the school where the children needs to do the same, they need to learn something at the same time all day, is that in forest school, we are giving the room of 3 children, of 3 years to the children to be able to go through all these skills. And not necessarily needs to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be 5, 1, 4, 3, 2, because we all are different. And the environment that we are growing is different. So that is what makes the philosophy of forest school, alternative education, more friendly towards the child, and for the child to be able to grow and learn in their own pace. So we have Froebel and Steiner, and Froebel is from the mid-1800s and Steiner from the late 1800s. And Froebel is the one who create, I don't know, coin the term world kindergarten or garden for children. He's the one who came and said, the right place for children is being outside in nature. They only need to play. So, and he started creating this garden for children. And Steiner, not the theory, Steiner is Waldorf. So he contributed not to the ethos of forest school. No, he also believes that children need to be outside, but they need to learn using all the senses, no, including the emotions, their heart. So those are the people who has a big influence of what is the ethos and principles right now from forest school. So the ethos. No, forest school is based on a fundamental respect for children and young people and for their capacity to instigate, test, and maintain curiosity in the world around them. It believes in children's right to play, the right to access the outdoors, and in particular, a woodland environment, the right to access risk and the vibrant reality of the natural world, and the right to experience a healthy range of emotions through all the challenge of social interaction, to build a resilience that would enable continued and creative engagement with their peers and their potential. And this child here is Ana Maria's, the older. So the whole program was created because of my daughter, and the school, the elementary, was created because of him. So he's the reason. Do you have questions about what I just read? What do you think about it?
My first thought that I had when you were speaking on just the differential developmental rates that every human possesses and goes through is just such a breath of fresh air, hearing learning more about this methodology, because I worked as a kindergarten through second grade, primarily with first grade students for many years. And it was in a public school setting, following the curriculum, by the book. And the need to differentiate learning at that young of an age, early childhood education, is so incredibly necessary. But when you're trying to reach certain benchmarks by certain dates, and having to sort of alter whatever systems you're using for one or two or three kids, is it's such a nightmare. So just being having the openness to allow each individual child to blossom and grow at their own rate it's just beautiful. I love it.
Thank you, Leila.
And more effective as well. So okay, thank you.
I was talking with a parent today. He went to visit Oleda, and he was asking me, how you do, if a child, you tell him, and not to hit, and he continue hitting. So it's at some point he's gonna understand,
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do if a child comes and he's sitting in a corner and he doesn't want to play with anyone? Well, we need to wait for him to find the inner motivation. He's gonna find it at some point, to start socializing. So, but the thing is, we are not desperate. And that is one of the things that I love about Montessori, because Montessori, she says that you don't need to be a teacher in profession, to be able to practice the approach. So anyone who believes in the capacity of the child is good enough to do the approach, the Montessori approach. And really, the approach is life. It's only that. It's only that we, society, are used to put a name to everything and put it in a box, because it's too much work, to have, a 8.1, 8.2, 8.3. So it's too much work. But what we do, in the program is that. So we see each child individually, and we try to support that individuality, for them to be able to flourish, for them to be able to find that self-regulation at the right moment and that inner motivation. Yes, Lauren.
Yeah, I'm really also enjoying this. Obviously, you know, I'm in a little bit of a different situation, and I think that, you know, this style of education for Quincy is really great because she is sort of on her own journey and doing things in her own time. And, you know, I'm just thinking about even just going through this with you, Patricia. It's very helpful because, you know, I have fear of what she's going to need moving forward. And, you know, it's a lot of question mark. And it's hard for me not to be in that future of like, we need to be, you know, looking at every option and, you know, in terms of services and things. And yeah, this is helping me just remember that like right now, that's actually not something that's helpful. She just needs to play for a long time, you know. I think this is, yeah, just reminding me why we're at Miami Nature in the first place. Because it's just, you know, I grew up in the system and it's what I know. And so it is hard, you know, to be in a completely different paradigm and just noticing what that feels. Yeah.
It's very difficult, even for me. Not that I really believe that I start this, that I'm there every day. Sometimes I need to remind myself what I'm doing. No, what is the reason that brought me here, even with my daughter. Sometimes with my daughter, no, I'm there like a helicopter. Don't ask too much. No, I love her. And honestly, so I was talking with someone this morning and I was saying how much surprise. And it's not that I want to talk. So it's not that I want to not to say how marvelous the elementary that we open it is. It's not about that. It's about understanding how all these years, because she was 3 years in our school, and it was so much fight with her dad, no, and fight with myself, no, about not having homework, about allowing her to do what she wants, no, and if she didn't do it, well, she needs to be responsible, no, of her own decisions. All the things that we were practicing for, I'm talking about that for 15 years, but at that moment it was like it's my daughter. I'm scared. Is she gonna be able to go to college and do everything that she wants? And every day I was reminding me about that. And now that she make her own decisions to go back to a public school, to do what she wants, and she's there, it's surprising me that she suddenly became so mature. I didn't notice that she was so mature. And she is on charge of her own tests. If she gets a bad grade, so okay, mom, no, I need to do this so I can increase my grade. But this comes from her. No, I tell her, if you need something, if you need help, let me know. Don't worry, mommy, it's control. So, and he's 14 years old. She's only 14. So I'm very surprised about that. And I'm glad that she maybe sounds awful, but I'm glad that COVID happens because it gives me the opportunity, to take her from the hands of her dad who didn't believe on this. And for her to be in the school these 3 years that are so important, for her to be able to mature in this way and become the kind of teenager that she is now. Okay, so we are going to continue. So forest kindergarten, forest school, what is not? So a way to teach curriculum outdoors, even if you sneak the curriculum in between. So that is not forest kindergarten, that is not forest school. If you give a badge on a word because you are conditioning the child to do something good because of a reward, inclusive, if we are talking about scouts, that is not forest kindergarten, not forest school. An environmental class, no es. A one-off activity like a party, is not. A short-term fix. So I go once a month. No. A replacement for therapy, a cheap alternative for therapy, or just playing in the woods is not. So everything goes together. We need to work together. So it's true that nature can heal, because I see it. I was a witness of that. But regularly, no, if you start early, it's possible, no, that maybe avoid to have to do therapy because the child was in the right moment and he can develop. In all these years, I saw children who were pulled out from schools, then they were in therapy. And after a couple of months in the program, they dropped therapy because they no longer need it. I have children who were 4 years old and they didn't talk at all. And after 6 months, they were talking and they were understanding Spanish. And after a year, they were talking Spanish. And I know that this specific child now is on a roll in his mainstream school. No, so I know that it's possible. So the thing is that because we don't have practitioners who are trained in the right way, so outside is mixing all this and saying that they are forest or they are forest kindergarten. And again, the idea about this training is for you to have this knowledge so you can discern. No, when someone tells you the same like Montessori, people who comes and say, no, Montessori too strict. No, they need to move like this and this like that. Montessori is not strict. What happened is that you didn't do your research about the approach. And the school that you are sending your child, they are not really Montessori. In Montessori is because they hire regular mainstream teachers and they do the online session, no, the online certificate. So they have the paper that says that they did Montessori. And even for a school, they are offering online certification. To be a forest school practitioner, you need to be outside. You can do it online, no? So it's those things. You can see here the girls, there is Sasha. So the girls, and look at this picture, no, because we are gonna talk about this later, no? What you can see in this picture, what you see? What do you think about what is happening?
Kids making up their own play and games. I mean, they were given some tools, but they're just doing what they want without anybody telling them what to do. Mm-hmm. Really.
Do you think, what do you think, what kind of play is happening here?
Teamwork, building, like it looks like they're building stuff, they're negotiating, like who's going to use what pieces where.
Do you think that all they are playing together? They are in the same page?
No, maybe not. Looks like Asha's like checking out what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. I was just gonna say, like,
Asha is always checking.
She's on her own page a lot of the time. But you know, aren't they all?
No, if you notice here is 3 different situations. No, Jacinta is in her own world. Just Asha is in solo play, and Chloe and Fonchi, they are in collaborative play. So in only one capture, no, you find 3 different types of play. So that is what is amazing about this, no, because each of them are in their own stage. And they have the possibility to do everything, no, at the same time. All these things happen at the same time. and each child is being fulfilled, their own needs.
Yeah.
So talking about the principles. So we have the needs long-term. So that means that the sessions needs to be regular and needs to be the same group of children during extended period of time. Why do you think that needs to be regular and the same group of children? Do you have an idea?
I have an idea. Like one of the major goals with educating children of this age is like their social development and being able to exist in like a positive community. And so there's a certain amount of just like understanding, negotiation, and dynamics that are at play that develop like naturally, organically over time. And if it was like here's 5 random kids, then 5 random kids who've never met each other before, then it's just the initial getting to know you stage versus the like coming to a deeper understanding of like who acts in what way, like what are their personalities, et cetera, et cetera. So like the development of a community doesn't happen in a day. It takes multiple sessions like over a long period of time.
Thank you, Leila. Yes, like you say, Lauren, is also trust and consistency. No, is about, so we are talking about soft skills again. No, is especially social and emotional part, no, development. So for that to happen, required to be consistent. That's the reason that our programs are like that. The 5 days, the 2 days for the parent and child, the whole year. Because otherwise we are not going to be able to make this. It's a lot of people telling, why you don't offer only 2 days or 3 days? Because we are going to lose the goal. The aim that we have is going to get lost. No, we are not going to be able. We found at the beginning, we were offering 3 and 2 days of adventure in the forest. But happened then the first day that the child returned to the program, we have to return again all the work from the past week because it was missing the consistency, no? And also for the family to be in the same page. So that is the moment that we say, no, conscious discipline for everyone. No, we are going to work together on this, and was very difficult. No, very, very difficult to be able to build what we have now. So, yes. So the nature principle, so takes place in a natural environment. It's the first time that I'm using this system. So in a natural environment to support a lifelong relationship. So needs to be, for example, a nature-based, a preschool that says that they are nature-based because they have a garden with a playground outside the building. Is not a nature-based. It's not a forest school, no? Because the children needs, so they need to have access to the wildlife, not from the environment where they are growing. Because what we want, what is needed, what the philosophy is looking for is to create the connection, the bonding between the children and the land where they are growing. And especially here in Miami, where we are always, the most of the families, they are in a project and they are not, no, for a long time here, is strictly needed for the children. And where we are immigrants, at least 90% of our families, they are immigrants. So the parents were not born here, but the child was born here or is growing here, came up as a baby. So it's needed, no, for the child to do this connection with the story of the land. For example, Enchanted Forest. Enchanted Forest is an area where the Indian Tecuestas, and they are extinct now, the Indian Tecuestas, they were traveling almost constantly to Cuba. And that park, the pond, if you visit that park, you can see a pond at the entrance. Well, that pond is a burial site. So what they did, it was to put the dead in a canoe, and they put it in the middle of the pond. And they wait for the vultures and everyone to take the flesh. And when they have the bones, they bring it again and they bury it. So all those things, it has a lot of history. The community center in Enchanted Forest. So that community center was an old preschool. And so in Enchanted Forest, we have the right to use. So the community center was assigned to us. It happens that we have a couple of moms that they were in that preschool at Enchanted Forest. So it's also a connection between the community. No, all the things is what we want for the children to start learning. Of course, each location is a different environment. The farm gives opportunity for the children to connect with a community outside the children. That is amazing. Enchanted Forest allows the children to connect with the history of the land where they are growing, and also with the wildlife of the environment. And Olera gives the children to connect also with the wildlife, but different type of wildlife. No, while in Enchanted Forest, the children, they see more birds, local birds. The children at Olera, they see manatees, manta rays, and dolphins. So it's two completely different things. No, the program is the same. The philosophy is the same. The principles is the same. But the environment is different. No, and the children, they have different experiences. So the community principle. So it's learner-centered and learner-led. So again, it's unstructured, and we follow the child. We are waiting for the child to show itself. We are waiting for the child to teach me about himself, so I can be part of his work. No, so that is the community principle. It's about building community, and not only between the mentors and the children and the families, but also, again, what I was saying about the farm, about people who is surrounding them on these environments. In Olera, for example, they know all the fishermen in Olera. And sometimes they teach them how to fish, and they take the fishes, because they send the pictures and they have the buckets with a lot of fishes, so they are learning from the people who is there. And in the Enchanted Forest, we have the mounted police. So the police, they go, they visit the children. We have the ranger, we have the community garden, and even, because sometimes the parents ask about this, the homeless. So the homeless in Enchanted Forest is part of our community. So there we were, every Friday, we were preparing soup. And we invite the parents 30 minutes early, and we told all the homeless in the park and everyone in the park, that if they want, they can share a soup with the children and they can come. The homeless there, they became our security. So it's homeless that we know that they are there for a long time, but sometimes someone new came and they came to us just in case it's something new. No, I don't like him. So try to be aware about him. We have one time, a saxophonist. So he offered concerts for the children, at Enchanted. So the idea is about bringing the community. So give a second, I went to lay. Oh, thank you. Las iguanas. Oh, you didn't see December last year? That was very cold. So the kids at the farm, they start picking up all the iguanas and put it around the fireplace. So we have like 5 iguanas there around, no? And the children, they were standing and looking at them, waiting for them to revive. So,
like when like the cold weather, how they like lock up. Oh my gosh.
yes.
Oh, I love that.
So holistic learning principle, no, aims to promote the holistic development of all involved, fostering resilient, confident, independent, and creative participants. So holistic, again, is about respecting the own piece of the child, not waiting for them, and trying to put everything together, not to be able to build, to shape a complete adult, a complete human being. The risk principle, I love this part, because offers the opportunity to take supported risks appropriate for the environment and to themselves. Risk. You need to be risk aware, no risk averse. So it's about the difference between risk and danger, no? So we allow, in forest kindergarten, I think the most important part is about risky play. Risky play is comprehend non-natural elements, so wind, fire, the rain, the heights, climbing trees, rapid speeds, when the kids, they find a hill and they start running like a crazy, or they create a swing with a vine and they start swinging in the vine and maybe the vine breaks and they fell to the ground. Dangerous tools, sharp tools like knives. They use plastic knives, the peelers, and even now that I'm doing my in the certification, they don't allow children to use the peelers. So they ask for the children to use real knives. And they say that is less dangerous, the knife, than the peeler. No, and the kids, you can see the kids, 3 years old, 4 years old, learning about my circle, my safety circle, and they are carving, 3-year-old with a real knife. No, so the children, they are capable, but we need to take out all the fear.
Can I comment on what you were just saying with how like allowing very young children use tools like things like knives and like sharp scissors? I have just a memory of working with I was teaching a kindergarten class and they were learning how to use scissors. It was just this plastic safety scissors. And I made a point to let the kids know, like, these scissors are not sharp, they are not dangerous, but they're gonna allow you to learn how to like use scissors. And so like the little kids were like playing out, like stabbing each other with the scissors and like hitting each other with the scissors, like pretending to cut their hands and stuff.
Yeah.
But I could only imagine if I was like, they're sharp, you need to be careful. That like even kids as young as like 4 or 5 would have been like, okay, we are being trusted with something. So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
It's like in Montessori. So Montessori, for example, the approach doesn't promote to bring fantasy into the life of the child when they are under 6 years old. Why? Because they are going to believe that they can open the window and fly. No? So that's one of the things, for example, with the tools and other things. No, we say they need to use it to know exactly what is the risk of using it. Because maybe they go other place and they find a scissors and they think that they are safe, that they are not gonna hurt, and they stab someone, other child. So the children, they understand, but again, requires a lot of time for us to work with the child and the right words and the right actions for them to start acquiring that knowledge and understanding. Karen, do you want to say something?
No, I was just thinking like of all the toys, like I have issues with like toy guns even because I'm just like, no, like they're
Look, toy guns, be sure, I think that any one of us like it. No,
Yeah.
even so when we are there and the kids start with using the sticks like guns and bazookas and all this stuff, we don't like it. We have this discomfort.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is that it's normal. So and it's normal, especially in boys. So they need it.
I mean, like he's never had a toy gun. He's like, but he watched a movie once.
Yeah.
One time, like Buzz Lightyear, and he's like, "This is a blaster shooter," and that blaster shooter hasn't left our house for 8 months. You know, like for 8 months, and I'm like, the less attention I pay to it, the better. You know, I'm like, okay, you know, and I continue because I'm just like, no, whatever, like. I don't
you
like
know,
that.
they need 300 times for us to repeat for them to learn something good, but only once to learn something that is not because it's exciting. So yeah, so it's normal. I'm gonna try to look because it's a flyer that we send periodically to the parents because it's always someone who starts, I don't like for them, playing with like guns, pretending with guns. And this flyer is about, it's normal. No, it's okay. And if you shut down that, so it's gonna bring something else later because they can express themselves. No, so that's the reason that we only bite the tongue and we are there. No, and we look at them and we know that it's a phase. No, it's gonna fade away in some time, sometimes, not always. So that is the risk principle. And it's very important because risk principle, so children, the risky play starts showing around 3 years old, 4 years old. So when we are in the parent and child, we are preparing the parents to feel comfortable with that. And when the child starts showing it, not to feel comfortable, to not have to shut down that. Because risky play is part of the normalization, the self-regulation. Play has to be with picky eaters. So it's related with the food. And I'm trying to remember the name. It's about the 5, if you can check, I appreciate if you can check the 5 dimensions of personality. No, it's one specific dimension, then I completely forgot the name. I completely forgot, but it's one of the dimensions that in result of children being shut down because of the pressure of society, what is not judging, what is right, what is wrong, what is dangerous, what is a child being too rough, not? So children are becoming more moody, more depression. So it's a lot of things that is happening in children only because they are not going being allowed to do risky play. No, so risky play is the most important part during the first years of life of a child. So that's the reason that it's important for us that the parents, when they decide to join the program, they understand this. That the children are gonna fail, they are gonna scratch the knee, have a scratch the knees, they are gonna bleed, no, and they are gonna cry, and it's normal. They are gonna grow. They are with us. No, it's about, again, making the difference between risk and danger. Risk is allowed. But if I see that your child is doing something dangerous, so I'm not going to allow it. And the leadership principle. The leadership principle about the training, no? About the people working with the children to have this kind of information. So at the beginning, we were doing, so the organization was covering for everyone working with us to do the certification, the level 1, no one here in the country. But I decided to not to continue doing it first because they were taking the training and leaving and open a new program when we pay for everything. No, second thing, it was like then the certifications, because South Florida is so different than the rest of the country. Then the certification, it was not applicable. So what they were learning was not applicable for us. So that is the reason that now I'm doing this certification in England, because the idea is England is one of the countries, almost all Europe, the government, not the educational system, validate the forest kindergarten. So it's part of the curriculum in most of the schools. They have the regulations, what is required for someone to work as a forest school, leader, a worker. So what I'm doing is right now completing the certification, and I'm bringing all that here. So my portfolio that I need to create on base of Florida is gonna be the document that we are gonna use to bring that certification from England to here to Florida for the training. So, and it's gonna be supported, validated for the Forest School Association in London. So that is what I'm working right now. And I have 1 year to finish that. Okay, so next one. So play. Play is children works, no theory of play to finish. So when children play, what is happening? They are developing communication skills. They are learning self-regulation skills, cognitive skills, learning new information, extending their thinking, critical thinking, and practicing social skills, resolving conflict, problem solve, cooperate with others, learn about themselves, explore roles, interests, skills, and relationships. All that happens with play. Again, play is the main work of a child. It's the only work and the only thing that is important. Occupational therapy says that a child under 5-year-old, they require between 5 and 8 hours daily of unstructured outdoor play. No playground, is being outside in nature, no? And that start going down, no? Based of the school-age children, they require only 4 hours, and teenagers between 2 and 3 hours daily, not to be mental health. So it's the main work. Children needs to be children. Okay.
That part's a little different than like Montessori, right? Because they like don't call, at least in the old school that he was in, like, oh, we don't play. I'm like, what did you play with? And he's like, they don't play here, they work, I'm like, okay.
So, they are working because Maria Montessori, again, play was the work of the child, but the thing is play at the end of the day. And forest kindergarten is a philosophy that is fed by Waldorf, Montessori, Reilly. No, so all these approaches, they fit well with the idea of forest kindergarten. So remember that I was telling you about the picture. So I'm gonna touch base only with partner and Piaget. And this is the part that I want for you, that I was telling you at the beginning, not that go and check when you are in the program, you can observe for a few minutes, or before arriving early to pick it up your child and the children are really engaged, no? And observe a little bit what kind of play is happening there and with the child at home. No, so to try to see if happens only one, no one of type of play, or maybe all the 5, all the 6, no, to see what is happening. So I like this one because in my experience, I see all these type of play happening. So partner, no, says that children develop skills in steps. Other theories look at overall play as a mechanism for learning and relying on culture and social skills. But in this case, so he talks about uncopied play. This is babies and toddlers. So it's the very beginning, no, of all the development in the human being. So they are still, the play is very random, and they are exploring the environment, not trying to make sense in the surrounding and environment. So it's when they are not using all the senses, especially the children, licking everything that they have around them, no, and they are always trying to taste, no, everything. The solitary play, so they entertain themselves without social involvement, and that happens. We have a child in the farm who he was like that for a year, around a year, no? And children in this stage not notice others around them. They are happy being by themselves. And again, that is normal if the child don't get stuck in that. So if I see that the child, for example, this child, after 1 year, he comes back and he continue in that stage, I will go and say, from my humble point of view, no, an experience, to tell the parents to go and do an assessment, no, because something is happening there. So solitary play allows children to explore, master new skills, and practice before adding a difficult social element. I remember also 2 siblings, twins, that I had for 2 months in a summer camp. And during the whole summer camp, they sat in one of the corners of the shelter, looking at each other and talking only with each other and nothing else. 2 days before the last day, they start playing with the other kids, finally. No, but it was 2 months that we were very grateful to the parents for paying the program and trusting the process. No, and from there the children, they start in the regular program and they did great. So on local play, they learn watching others, how they are playing, what they are doing. No, so it's a tool for their own learning. And the information here is gathered about the material, social play, the environment, and when you see them, looks like they are not doing anything. They are doing anything. They are not learning. They are doing anything. No, but, and we had also this experience, suddenly the child goes back home and they know all the songs. And the mom sends a message asking for the songs. No? So he is observing. He's a child that is observant. No? And we only need to give him space and time. Karen.
No, sorry, Ezra yesterday, I mean, he actually, like, I had like an adult tantrum for a bath time. And he's like, and I'm like, Ezra, how do we not fight about this? And he's like, we breathe. And then he was breathing calmly. He's like, we breathe. And then he's like, fighting is not good. There's nothing. And he's like, and I'm like, okay. And then he started singing the I Wish You Well song to me.
Oh,
And I was like, oh my God, you're breaking my heart. I was like, yes, Ezra. I was like, we still need to take a bath as soon as we get here. But I mean, and then later on, he's like, your ABCs, you should sing them in Spanish like Miss Carolina does it. She knows how to sing it in Spanish like Miss Carolina. You say hi.
Yes, so really the children, they are observing. That's the reason that they say we need to be very careful what we say in front of the children, because the day, no, the day that you don't think about it in front of all the family, they are gonna say what they hear, no? Okay, and so parallel play, no? The children, they are near each other. What this look like, the picture that we saw. So children play near each other, but not with each other, no? For outsider, for a person who comes suddenly, it's gonna look like they are playing together because they are in the same area. But no, they are and they are playing the same type of game. So with the same supply, the same materials, but they are not really interacting between them. If you have questions, only let me know. And associative play. Yes.
I don't have a question, but I think that your screen share must be lagging on mine. I'm still seeing the different principles. The list of the different principles.
See?
Is all.
Oh, you are seeing, we are right now in partner, parallel play, associative play.
No,
No?
I'm not seeing that.
Okay,
I don't want to take too much time. But I know we're
gonna
be
stop
receiving...
sharing, and I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm gonna do it
Thank
again.
you, I appreciate
Maybe,
it.
yes. Maybe.
And if it doesn't work, I
And
know we're
now?
gonna be getting the now it's just a black screen. Let's see.
Do you see
I'm just seeing
parallel
a black.
play?
I'm just seeing a black screen. I don't want to take too much time away from all of this. You're
But I want
explaining
to be
everything
sure,
pretty well.
Karen, Lauren, are you seeing the screen? Yeah.
Yeah, I see parallel.
Okay. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
it's the,
But
but
you're-
Leila, don't
Oh,
worry.
you said
So
you're
I'm gonna be
screenshotting?
sending the
Yeah.
I can screenshot it and just send it to you right now so you have it.
If you could like stick it in the chat possibly.
That'll do
Or you
right
can
now.
type up my email. Oh yeah, I think you can wait, yes, you can put images into the chat. But like since we're gonna be receiving it as the full PowerPoint.
I forgot to create a chat. I was gonna to create one and I completely forgot about that. But I'm gonna send the PowerPoint, and if you have questions, let me know and we can talk about it before the next meeting.
Of course.
So we are talking
Lauren.
about associative play, no? And is the shift. So it's the change between playing near each other, no? Now working as a team, playing together, no? Planning the same game. So they are going to start testing about the personalities of the other children, to whom I can say something, to whom I can say no. He's going to cry. He's not going to mind about it. No, so there is where they start socializing, learning about the different personalities, and being being more thinkers about what I'm gonna do and what I'm not gonna do. No, and cooperative play. So this is the last stage where all they are together. They come together for something, and but it's funny because it's named cooperative play. But the thing is, when we are building a community, so cooperation is the less that happens, because all they start learning about the personalities. So they are starting to fight, no? And it's the negotiation. So it's starting all this that is like the Big Bang, no? It's the beginning of everything. So this is the final stage for PANEP. That's the reason that I love this, because really you can see in the same space, No, in this case, like I was telling you, at the farm, you can see all this happening at the same time. No, each child is in their own world, doing their own thing, and you can see it. And Piaget. So Piaget told, the thing with Piaget is that it's the most used, no, in the actuality, despite that he talked about this more than 80 years ago, I think so. So the theory is broken. He breaks the theory in 4 components. So the sensory motor stage, the pre-operational stage, the concrete operational stage, and the formal operational stage. So sensory motor stage is age 0 to 2 years. Then you are not going to see it in Adventure in the Forest. Most you're going to see it in the parent and child. So again, the children are exploring through the senses. No, the pre-operational is between 2 and 7-year-old. So they are engaged in parallel play, close to each other, but not with the other children. Is still egocentric. They are thinking about themselves, especially until the 3 years old. No, everything is my world. Everything is mine. No, everything is about me. It's about why you don't talk to me, why you don't want to be my friend. So I cry every day. No, so and that. So the concrete operational stage is between 7 to 11-year-old. So they become problem solvers, ask many questions, and understand, not same, different, and that something can look different but the same. So they start the critical thinking about the difference between all the situations that they are going through. And the normal operational stage, so it's starting 11 years old to adult. So for example, the sensory motor and pre-operational stage, if we talk about Montessori, this is the moment where the children are learning about the world, looking to the caregivers surrounding them. So they are all the caregivers surrounding the children are gonna to transfer the way that they confront the world to the children, and they are building the personality. And the age between 7, 11 years old is the moment, especially is the 4th stage of maturity, around the 12 years old, between the 3rd and 4th year stage of maturity, is the moment where the children, I don't like seeing in a stone, but is the moment where my personality is established. No, so it's going to be more difficult for a child to change values, priorities, principles for an adult telling them to do it. So until that moment, the 3rd stage, around 8 years old, 9 years old, so we as an adults have an influence in the child. Starting 8, 9, 12. So the child is already, everything that he learned through the first 9 years of of life, okay, this is my personality. I see the world in this way. And after then, the 12 years old, that is the last stage, any change in their perception is gonna be as a result of their own experience as a teenager. No, that's mostly the reason that we have situations with our children when they are teenagers, because we want to continue not telling them about life, but they want to experience by themselves and they don't want to listen. No, so this is based on Piaget. Do you have questions or comments about it?
I missed some of it, but I put it on my, I'm going to look it up and watch videos on it. So that's nice.
And this only to mention, because kid is very important, at least for me, in the sense that if you look online for Tools of the Mind, it's a small book that I really love, because that book talks based on Vygotsky, theory. So it was created this curriculum called Tools of the Mind. And this book talks about a research that was made through, I was trying to look for the book. So it talks about a research that was made here for over 30 years of life of children. So the research starts when the children start preschool. So, and it was 3 groups, the control group, the social emotional program, preschool, and the mainstream. So, and this research, this study goes through the 4 years old through the adulthood. And what happened with these 3 groups over all those, the lapse of 30 years. And part of the results is that children who participate in the social emotional development program, social emotional program, so at the beginning, when they start school, 6 years old, for the first 3 years, until 3rd grade, they were behind in the cognitive part. But starting the 3rd grade, they start being and the same than the other children and doing better, in the cognitive part. Later in life, the children in these kind of programs, they have less interaction with the law. The girls, the percentage of pregnancy in teenagers was lower. As an adult, so the children in social emotional, the children, they decide not to pursue a long profession, so 5 years college, and divorce were lower, the percentage of divorce, and they had better the relationship with the partners, at work, and they got better how do you say levels, in their work, so they have a better position. So those were part of the results. And Montessori, I think that we talk a lot about that. And to finish, so we have Froebel and the principles. So Froebel, can you see? I'm trying to. I can see. I hope that you can see the whole screen. So Froebel, is the one who started forest school. And he said that childhood should be valued at its own stage, not just a stepping stone to adult. So children needs to be children. Then play is vital to helping them to learn how things work and about the world around them. So I was talking with a dad who went today or later to see the program. And I was telling him the program is like a small society between the children, a small community. It's the way that things are going to work outside if they are adults. And that is the idea about the forest kindergarten. It's about giving the opportunity to the children to be able to build their own society, their own community. And children will develop at different rates, and this should be respected. So at their own pace, waiting for them to show what they want for us to learn about them, waiting for them to flourish. Education should focus on what children can do, not what they cannot do. So encourage the gift that your child has. Children's emotional, mental, and physical states are all of vital importance. So we work all day, not only the cognitive part, not only the knowledge, no, but the three of them are the same, no, it has the same importance. And children are heavily influenced by those around them, both adults and other children. Especially adults, we need to be conscious that we are transferring, no, or fears, or paradigms, everything, or beliefs, we are transferring that to the children. So we need to be conscious about that. And about the principles, no, that we were talking. So Froebel, he talked about principles in forest schools that later they were put together with the principles that we saw at the beginning of the presentation. So learning through play. Free play encourages the child to discover how things work. Respect individuals' development pace. Practitioners serve as a guide. So we serve rather than a teacher. We are guides rather than a teacher. And we help to lead a child. Children should make mistakes and learn through trial and error. And the classroom should be a prepared environment. So the learning environment is carefully designed. And the importance of movement, outdoor play and large body movement are critical to learning. And to finish, so play is the breath of life to the child, since it is through play activities that he finds mental ease and can work upon his wishes, fears, and fantasies so as to integrate them into a living personality. So, and that's it. Tell me the next 6:02. Yay! I was on time. Oh. Well, questions, doubts?
Gratitude. Thank you.
No, thank you for being here the 2 hours.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you, Laura, for sending the screenshots. So.
Oh,
Yes,
no.
I'm gonna send now later. I'm gonna send the PowerPoint so you can have it. Remember, please check the theory of play. If you can read more about it, please do it. And try to find out what is happening with your children. No, if this is happening, how it's happening. No, and from there we are gonna talk again in 16, I think so. No, 16 in the morning. Okay. Well, thank you so much. See you soon.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you so much. Bye. Have a nice night, everyone.
You too.